Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here with another One Sheet Wonder card. I'll be showing you how to make two of the exact same card with one piece of 6x6 pattern paper and no scraps. So there'll be no pattern paper scraps left when you're done, but I will be mounting things, different elements on cardstock, so making mats, and that will leave you with some cardstock scraps. There's some things you can do to mitigate that, but I also find that cardstock scraps for me are easier to use up. I'm going to be using black cardstock, for instance, today, so the scraps that I might have left from cutting out today's mats, I will probably use on a future card. My inspiration today was I recently decided to add some bug-themed jokes to my card drive resources page, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But to get started, I am cutting my 6x6 paper according to the PDF template that will be over on my blog. So there's a link in the video description, and it will tell you exactly how to cut your 6x6 pattern paper with a little note about how today's is a bit tricky, and then it will show you a sketch of how to assemble the card. With today's card, I'm going to be cutting circles out of my main panel and then using those as a decorative element on the card. I believe in the sketch I am suggesting a 1¼ inch circle. You could change it up just a little bit, but you do generally want to keep to that size because you have to try to fit 3 of them across this 5¼ inch panel. The main panel that I'm working on is 5¼ by 3. Measurements are on the blog though, so you don't have to really pay attention to those in the video. After I've cut the 3 circles, I will be layering it on the black cardstock. I chose to cut my black circles out of the black mat. That can make things a little bit more difficult, so if you don't want to do that, just use a plain big black mat for the back. But when you're placing your circle dies on your main panel, you really want to be careful about laying them down in the place that your final circle is going to go. So I used the grid surface that I'm working on to make sure my first circle was centered. And then I went out from the circle like an even amount on both sides. I find that the easiest way to do it. There's a little note about it on the template just so that you don't have any or too much trouble with it, because on the second one I didn't pay as much attention and I did have my circles a little bit difficult to cover up. Now what's nice is the black mat means that you'll be covering a little bit more space than the perfect circle. However, it's not very much wiggle room. So you definitely want to be really careful with your circle placement. I'm also taking the little scrap that was left on the end, that's 3/4 inch by 3 inches, and I'm using that as an element, a design element behind the circles. Now I mentioned I have some jokes. So I like to donate a lot of my cards, and I like to help and encourage other people to donate their cards as well. So on my blog is the Card Drive Resources page, which lists a bunch of organizations. I'm not affiliated with any of them. I'm not necessarily vouching for any of them in the sense of like, I don't personally know anybody who runs them. They're places I've donated to before, I've read about, and seem like a good place. So of course, do your own research on that. But there's a list of organizations you can donate to, as well as some jokes that you can use on the inside of cards, and then some tips for what to do, like how to write cards and how to prepare cards for donating. In the jokes, I recently added some bug-based jokes. I like the bug and insect theme because it's gender neutral, age neutral. You can really make these cards for anyone. And that was my inspiration today. My stamp is from the ink Blot shop. I'm using the Just Because sentiment, and I'm going to stamp that directly onto my pattern paper panel. And then I'm going to pick one bug to put in the center of this card. What I kind of like about this design is it works well for you to put one image in the center, but also if you had a couple images, you could put one in each of the circles. You could just use a more statement pattern paper and leave the circles blank. It would be also a great place for you to put a word die if that's what you prefer. I think that the design is pretty versatile, even if it's a little finicky, and I hope you like it as well. This is from the ink Blot shop. I chose the bee. I just thought because a lot of the jokes that I had come up with, or sorry, I had gathered, I don't write these jokes. I gather them from across the internet. A lot of them don't have an author, so I can't really credit anybody. But the I chose the B because there was a lot of bee themed jokes. I'm going to pick Y171513 and C9, C7, C5 for my yellows and my blacks, although they're really grays. I prefer the cool grays or the neutral grays for black. Sometimes the warm grays are great for it as well, but really I just suggest using whatever grays and yellows suit you. The main thing I would say to help add a little bit of dimension to this bug is that I put my shadow colors on the top and bottom of each section of the bug. So like each stripe got some shadows on the top and bottom and then a lighter area through the middle, and that makes the bug appear rounded. Same thing with the face. There are a couple other different bugs in the stamp set, and most of them you'd be able to apply this same coloring technique to, or whatever bug stamp you have, animal stamp. A lot of times just making them look like they have some depth and making them look like they're round, like where this is more relevant for a different kind of animal, but like if you want the belly on a bear to appear round, by again just adding that highlight to the top and bottom or the left and right. So, shadow to the top and bottom or left and right. By putting them opposite each other and then a highlight in the center, that's what gives them a rounded look. I'm going to take my bug, I'm going to cut it out with my ScanNCut. I'm going to decide to put it in the middle. You could put it in whichever circle you like. You could color extra bugs. I think that would look really cute too. But I like the monochromatic look of my card today with just the black and yellow. I don't know if that's quite monochromatic, but anyway, that's it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I will leave you links to all the products that I mentioned today, as well as the different free resources on my blog that I mentioned as well. Have an awesome day. Bye.